Hey guys, so today I wanted to talk about a favorite show of mine, which I watched since like I was a kid. And that is the Little House on Prairie series. And I started watching it recently, and I realized that, I grew up watching Little House, and I loved it. I loved especially the storyline of Laura when she meets Almanzo and they fall in love and all that stuff. And I got to thinking about the kinds of shows that we have on TV today and the kinds of values and messages that our kids are learning. I'm not saying that I was a saint and that that I never watched things like horror movies or whatever, which, I think all of us have probably looked back and say, oh my gosh, I would never let my child watch that show that I watched, whatever. But for the most part, the shows that I watched and I was allowed to watch, that's the key thing, they were very wholesome and very good shows. And I think that shaped the person that I am today. So as I'm watching these episodes as an adult now, it really hits home. It hits home how important it is to make sure that our children are watching the things that are wholesome, that have the value system that you have, that teach that it's okay to be different, but more importantly, that it's okay that to have those values and to hold them dear to our hearts. Nowadays it seems like people go through phases of wanting acceptance and wanting attention and wanting to be popular or whatever, the kids do anyway, and maybe adults, let's be real. And so they compromise on their values when that happens, because of that. So we've got to teach your children, to stand firm, and they know what they've been taught. We as parents have taught our children from the time they were born, different things, and they know this. Those things are instilled in their hearts. And we've planted the seed, as they say, right? And as they get older, that seed grows. And so we've got to nurture that seed, right? We've got to make sure that they remember those things that we taught them. And you think they'll remember, but they really don't. You've got to remind them. You got to remind them of times that you had as a family, perhaps, or things that you've gone through and how you overcame them. You've got to share those things. You've got to testify of how and why that your family went through it and got through it. And because otherwise they're going to take it for granted. And that's what I've learned. I've learned that, even, me as an adult, right? It's just, as adults, we see life differently. And so when I see some of the episodes on Little House on the Prairie that I watched as a kid, I remember how I saw it as a child. I remember, it wasn't the same. And now as an adult, I watch them and I'm like, wow, very profound messages. The hidden agendas are the kind that I want for my children. Maybe there was an episode about an Indian coming into town and how he was treated, and the family, the Ingalls family, how they took care of him and were not judgmental. About the first Black family that moved into Walnut Grove and how they dealt with that. An obese person who comes in and is actually one of Mr. Olson's sisters and how they dealt with that. So they deal with a lot of issues. I remember there was one episode where a child was molested and they dealt with that. I mean, there are so many really, really adult themes in those shows, but they did it in a wholesome way. And so we can take note of that. We can say, see how, of course, we know, we all know the Michael Landon story. We know he wasn't a saint. We know he was nothing like this character. But fortunately, that did not show in his series. The series it remained wholesome, and it remained a show that I am very happy to share with my family. Those are my thoughts for today. As always, good luck on your journey, and I'll see y'all soon. Bye.